Ever wonder why your favorite fishing rod suddenly snaps, frays your line, or just doesn't feel right anymore? It's probably not bad luck or bad gear. It's how you're treating it. If you're new here, I'm Captain Kevin, and you might just learn something new today. Today, I'm breaking down at least 10 rod care tips every angler should know. These are simple habits that'll save your gear, your fish, and your money. From preventing broken tips to protecting your rods in the truck or on the boat, I've got you covered. Let's jump into it, because the only thing worse than losing a fish is knowing it was your fault. Leaning rods in the corner? That's a snap waiting to happen. Build a stand with 1.5-inch PVC. Keep your rods safe off the ground and organized like a pro. So in order to build a rod rack with this PVC pipe, you'll need to start with 1.5-inch PVC pipe. So depending how big you want to make it, you want to get 4 elbows, and then you want to get 2 T's for each row that you're going to make. You're going to want to get 1 T for each rod that you're going to hold in your rod rack. You're going to want to cut a number of your 1.5-inch tubing. These are the connector pieces, so cut these all about the same length. You'll start with the corner piece. You'll then connect in a T that's going to go sideways because that's going to be one of your rows. Then you'll connect in another connector piece. Then you can put in a T, and then you can have a piece that's going to hold up the rod. Then this will be your end piece. You can actually run your rods. This will be on the far end, and you can run your rods along over here. And then we'll put one more rod right here as this example build. And then we'll go to the full system. So this is a start mock-up of the pieces that you need to build the rod rack. And here is the finished 30-rod rod holder. A loose rod in the back of your truck is like a ticking time bomb. You need to use a hard tube or travel case. So you want to get your rods positioned all together, and the fattest down here, these are usually your largest eyelets. It's better to have them kind of spun around in different positions so that they'll go into the rod tube easily. And then lay those ends there, and then slide them in gently. Like so. And this little pin here, always keep that pin secured up on top so you don't lose it. And then slide this over the rods and pull it into the first hole, which you will then secure with that clip. This is the last thing to go on your gear when you have the truck loaded. So this will lay in. You can bungee these down or ratchet strap these down on the top of your truck so they don't blow out. This is how to safely travel with your rods. Ever pulled a rod out to find the guides bent and the line wrapped around everything? Rod sleeves protect your guides, your line, and your sanity. They're like socks for your sticks. Just slide them on and forget the chaos. That will protect that line from getting wrapped up in other rods. I'll use these primarily when I'm going short distances, less than an hour away from my house. Otherwise, I'll stick all my rods in a rod carry case if I go down to the coast. If you're reeling your Texas rig all the way up, you're slowly wrecking your rod, one tap at a time. That bullet weight acts like a hammer on the top guide. Stop short and protect that ceramic ring. It's your rod's weakest armor. Think your line's getting frayed from a bad knot? Think again. Most of the grime on your line that it picks up, such as algae, salt, sand, grass, weeds, ends up right here on your guides. Run a Q-tip through each one of these. If it snags or leaves cotton behind, you've got a problem. The cotton swab also cleans up any of that grime that's on all of your eyelets. I also recommend after every trip you take a rag and you wipe it down. You can get a little moisture on it. You can use some reel cleaner. This rod's been cleaned before, but just giving you an example here of going through and wiping it down and making sure all the grime and salt and junk that gets collected, riding in the boat or coming in from your reel and the line, make sure all that stuff gets cleaned up off your rod. Also make sure the reel seat screw is functioning good. This all looks very clean for this rod here. You don't want to be running with your rod and the rod holder with big heavy weights on your rods where they're clanking back into the rod. See how that can damage that rod going back and forth? You want to take that leader off, that hook and that leader off your swivel and stow that hook, and then you can hook your swivel into your hook keeper, or you can, these little swivel, these twist-on swivels are a little harder to swivel in there, but you can take a rubber band and put it on there easily, and then go down to your reel and close that up. And that's not going to beat up your rod as you're running offshore. And then take your weight and put it in a bucket or some secure place that you'll be able to put it on once you get to your fishing spot. Do not go driving down the road at 70 miles an hour with the rods and your rod holder in the back of the boat. Imagine little rocks or bugs hitting those rods and putting a little chip into it, and then the next time you go to set a hook, that little chip weakens that rod and breaks. Also, you pick up any dirt grime, all that grime you get on your windshield or in your truck, any tar, salt, all that stuff gets all over your rods if you leave them in the boat. Those need to go in the back of your truck or in a rod case when you're traveling. If your bait's free swinging, it's probably about to hook something it shouldn't. Use bait covers to stop the chaos. So when you finish up with using your bait, you're going to want to secure it to the hook keeper, and then you're going to want to take the line on the spinning reel and spin it around so the line is closest to the rod. And then you can adjust the drag, and you can pull a little drag out so that your rod is perfectly straight. And then you can take your bait keeper and wrap it around your rod and your bait to keep it from hooking anything else on the boat. So if people walk by on the boat, they don't get snagged. And then when you take it off the boat, you can pack up all your rods together if you're going to travel together with them, and then that hook doesn't snag anything if you're going to leave them rigged up. So most rods have hook keepers built into the blank where I've got these hooks. This swim bait is hooked onto this one here. But there's some that come with no hook keeper. So one way to remedy that is with a little ring that you can use, you can get from your crankbaits. Just a little O-ring. Then you can use a little zip tie, and you can put that on your rod and zip tie that on there like so. And now you've got yourself a little ring. And you can snip off the end there so that doesn't stick out, get in the way. So now I can bring the hook down. Instead of hooking it into the eyelet, bring that hook all the way down to that ring and then tighten it up. And again, spin the line around to the top where it's closest to the rod, and you can tighten down the drag so that it doesn't go away. And there, now you've got your hook keeper there with a little ring and a zip tie. Flip it down when not in use, and you'll never stab your hand or your gear bag again. And for the #1 rod killer, and you will see it happen every single day.
There, he finally committed.
Lifting a fish on the tip puts max pressure right where your rod is weakest.
I got my pliers if you want me to try.
Snap.
Oh, Kevin.
You need to use a net or grab the line and pull it up with the line or the leader. Don't just hoist it in like a crane with your rod.
Well, there went that rod.
Oh no! Oh man, what's
I tried to lift it out of the water and it broke.
Okay, this is a bonus tip for taking care of your rods and your gear. So if you've got a rig set up where you've got a slip sinker on top of a swivel, so I'm using this as a bait rig. Got my little number 4 hook there. Put that in the hook keeper, but see now that weight bounces around, hits the eyelet and stuff. If you're traveling on the boat or if you're going a short distance in your vehicle, you can take that line and wrap it around that eyelet 2 or 3 times until it's tight, and then that will stop that from hitting the eyelet. And then you can take your hook keeper, your hook guard, and you can put this down here on your line and your rod. Again, have the top of the spool on the spinning reel, the line closest to the rod. You can tighten that up or loosen it up. Make sure that your rod is straight so it doesn't have a bend in it. You can let a little bit more line out there to get that rod fairly straight. Take care of your rods and they'll take care of your fish. These tips don't cost much, but ignoring them sure does.
Doug, come over here.
Got any rod care hacks of your own? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to try them. Hit that like button if you learned something. Subscribe for more fishing tips, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Tight lines. If you want to see my video on all the wade fishing gear I recommend to people, watch this video here. And if you want to see the top 3 knots I recommend to people, watch that video here.